Good Monday morning to you. I'm Kiran Chetry. A lot happening overnight. We're getting you caught up this morning. First, inspectors have found cracks in 3 more Southwest Airlines planes. This is similar to those that caused the roof of a Boeing 737 to rip open in mid-flight Friday. Emergency inspections now mean delays and cancellations today for Southwest passengers. All right, well, efforts to plug a leak at Japan's severely damaged nuclear reactor fail again this morning. And now Japan says it has...
Good morning. It's Monday, April 4th. Welcome to American Morning.
We have a lot to talk about this hour, including the latest on that Southwest. It's going to... They're grounding planes, canceling flights as they try to get to the bottom of this. But meanwhile, President Obama officially kicks off his re-election bid for 2012. And out of those deadly demonstrations in Afghanistan brought on by the burning of a Quran by one congregation in Florida. One person was killed yesterday and more than a dozen others injured in Kandahar. So far, 20...
All right, Rob, thank you.
Up next, President Obama announces his 2012...
14 minutes past the hour now. A little less than a year after the BP oil spill in the Gulf, the company wants to start drilling again. A report by the New York Times says, good morning, just 4 more days to a potential shutdown of the federal government. Democrats and Republicans agree on one thing, the amount of cuts needed in the new budget, but they don't agree when it comes to which programs to cut. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer will you say to cut $23 billion, which would bring an additional $23 billion, which would bring the cuts to $33 billion total. Right. But House Speaker Boehner is at least publicly saying that there is no agreement on that number. Has he said in private that $33 billion is acceptable?
His negotiators are working off that $33 billion number. Speaker Boehner has said, and there's no problem, we have no problem with this, that there's no agreement.
Because of pressure from the Tea Party?
Well, the Tea Party is the only thing standing in the way of it works.
So
but it's good. The good news is here, the Republican leadership is already turning the page. They realize that they can't go along with the Tea Party.
From calling them extreme, and you're highlighting now why you think that they're sort of standing in the way of getting an agreement. But couldn't the opposite argument be made that if it weren't for these 57 Tea Party members in Congress, we wouldn't be looking at as many cuts that even Erskine Bowles says have to happen if we want to get our country back on the right track?
I think the citizens who input, no question about it, it's when the people in Congress misread that, some of their allies, and make it extreme.
There is support for the Tea Party, though. I mean, when you look at our latest polling, you have a third of Americans have a favorable opinion about them. 52% of people say that has to happen.
Kiran, it's not we don't want to cut the deficit, and they do. We both want to cut it. We want to cut it in a smart way with a sharp scalpel. They want to just use them.
You're talking about?
No, 47%, as I understand it in your poll of kinds of things.
Isn't the bottom line, there's so much, and I mean, this isn't a fault of either party, but this is the system. There is so much that's untouchable in the budget. I mean, the social programs that make up the huge chunk of the budget and the interest on our debt.
Good. This is a very good point.
You're cutting around the
one of the things that I've talked about, I gave a speech about safety inspection for food or for airplanes, things like that. And the American people don't want us to cut those. They want us to get rid of the waste across the board. Proposal.
He believes it would hinder job growth.
700,000. That's not what Americans want.
All right, well, it was great to get your point of view. Senator Charles Schumer, always great to talk to you. Thanks for being with us.
Nice to talk to you, too. Thanks.
All right, let's bring in the...
Well, it's being called the most exciting event that's happened in the fight against Alzheimer's disease, at least according to the author of a new study. Researchers have discovered 5 new genes linked to the memory-killing disease. Now, each gene is basically a new clue as to what causes Alzheimer's disease, and this now doubles the number of clues scientists have. Experts say it is the first big step toward finding a cure, and this is the disease that has continued to impact us. 2005 numbers, 5 million Americans have Alzheimer's. By 2050, they expect it to go up to 16 million. 21 minutes past the hour right now. The reviews are in, and the torpedo of truth was a dud, apparently. Charlie Sheen booed off stage on the first night of his violent Torpedo of Truth tour in Detroit. Here's a listen.
Now know your email address. A security breach hits top companies like TiVo, Citi, Marriott, and others. We're minding your business. Coming up next.
Welcome back. We got a real treat today for you. A very special guest on our show. His name is legend, of course, in the music and movie business for all of his success as a producer and a talent promoter. It's Jerry Weintraub's personal story that appears larger than life, and he is the subject of a new HBO documentary, His Way. It premieres tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. Here's a clip. So long, and you've had to, I mean, you've produced these. In this documentary, you sort of had to give up control. You had to let close friends and people that worked with you narrate your life. Was that scary?
Well, the frightening part, Graydon Carter from Vanity Fair produced my life. When I produce the film about everybody else's lives, or whatever film, I'm in total control.
Right.
Here I had to say, and I met with him, and I decided to give it up and let him go for it.
Are you happy with how it turned out?
I think it's fantastic. We just got a huge rave in the New York Times this morning. But I'm very, or somebody like that. I wrote it. So my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids can read my words, what I said.
For you.
Okay.
And because we are 3 anchors, I don't get to ask 2, so you can choose what. Tell me.
I'll give you one of
You
mine.
can either give me your best memories, because some of our viewers may not know, you had a very close relationship with both Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra, or
It's very similar, right?
this is my work life, though. You've got a real life situation that's
kind of
similar.
a similar deal, you know. Well, I have very close friends. We are not having a menage a trois. So we had been together, and I love her. I talk to her 5 times a day today.
You don't live with her. You actually, she lives in Malibu, and you live with your girlfriend, Susie.
Right, in Beverly Hills and Palm Springs. But we vacation at Jane's. When and if Susie needs to marry you, we'll work it out, we'll figure it out. And I told her, you can have a divorce, you can have anything you want, we're not going to fight over anything. And she said, look, you know, the bottom line is, I've lived with you for a long
Matt, George, Matt, and Brad. I mean, these are like people who are, you know, very, very well. You've spanned a generation of leading men. Leave us with some insights. Who's the most fun? Or are they all different?
Well, I spent a few generations.
That's right.
But I go back to Cary Grant.
As we would think as they were before. Are they all the same?
Yeah. The problem today, the stars, is they used to drive over to my house.
24-hour websites.
Extra. You had all that stuff going on.
There's a lot of mystique taken away from the stars. I mean, back then, I mean, a movie star was a movie star. I mean, you know, and perhaps one of the most controversial, Liz Taylor, because of her, you know, on-screen love affair with Richard Burton. But now every move a celebrity makes is out there. Everything they say wrong. So, do we have superstars anymore?
Yeah, we get a lot of them.
His Way, all about Jerry Weintraub, premieres tonight, HBO, 9 o'clock. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
While we work our way through that sandwich, Rob's going to be working on some weather. Hail, high winds, even